All right, 86.2. All right, so a little announcement here. Lance, every time I happen to agree with you, you tell me I'm a Republican. And this past week, I've been reading a book, and I realized that you were right. I am a Republican. But I am a Rick Wilson Republican. Rick Wilson has written this book. He's one of the founders of the Never Trumpers. He's a Republican consultant. He's a guy who develops attack ads for Republicans. He was one of the first people to be distressed by the very real possibility that Trump would become president. And in this book, he lays out how Trump is contrary to all these Republican principles. And a lot of the things he has to say, I agree, are reasonable principles, like fiscal responsibility. Oh yeah, show the work Lance has done. In less than an hour of drawing, Lance has already...
Not even an hour or a half hour. Less than a half hour.
Yeah, so look at that thing. That's for...
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're going to use this to try to get people to take your classes.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so like, Lance, you claim that you can a few lessons to be able to draw this well.
That's true. Can you sit up straighter?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Let's get some massive torso over there. Now turn your torso more toward me. Okay, and you turn your head away. That's it. Okay. Because I want a good 3/4 view. All right. So all right. So what's our next topic?
Well, no, hold on, because I was looking back and I looked up what are the greatest things that Republicans have done, and there have been some great Republican presidents. Eisenhower was a pretty damn good president. Eisenhower started the ball rolling on desegregation. Eisenhower made his great farewell speech in which he warned against the military-industrial complex. Lincoln freed the slaves, and he got the vote for everybody in the country, regardless of race. Teddy Roosevelt, we won the Spanish-American War under Roosevelt.
Well, no.
What?
He fought in the war.
Well, that's right. Yeah, you're right. That was McKinley. Anyway, that war is debatable. But anyway, under George H.W. Bush in 1991, we handily won Gulf War I. The ground war lasted 4 days. Anyway, there have been lots of, good Republicans, and Trump's not really one of them.
Well, I think that Trump is doing exactly what I wanted him to do.
So maybe you're not a Republican. Because Trump is like exploding the deficit to the tune of, I don't know what, $1 trillion, 960 billion.
Deficit or the
national debt, I guess. The national debt.
Well, he's not actually the one that allocates the money. That's the Congress.
Yeah,
So the budget that he signed was decided for him by Congress, and you could definitely blame Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan for that one. So I don't deny that we need to spend less money, but he had to spend the money in order to get the military funded.
Or don't give, I understand there's some pluses to the corporate tax cut. Maybe not as many as, I'd argue that corporations were already paying not as much as they claimed, and we're already doing pretty well. Anyway, you know what? You want to move to another topic?
I want to move to something that's very important, that's close to my heart, and that is that about 3 weeks ago, I don't know if the liberal media told you this, but I was listening to the liberal media, to the regular media, the Fox News or whatever, and Putin got up in front of the podium to make a big speech. He was all excited, was Putin, because he just developed hypersonic missiles.
Yeah, it can't be knocked out of the sky because they're so frickin' fast.
Yeah, and not only that, but they change direction. So you can't predict their trajectory. So normally when a missile's shot into the air, it has a certain arc when it goes towards a city, and you can predict where it's going to be. That's the way you're able to knock a missile out with another missile. But and it takes a while for the missile to get there to its target, 15, 20 minutes. But now Putin's got a weapon that can be shot from anywhere. It gets to its target in 6 minutes, and it can shift direction. So it can start off shooting at Washington, D.C., and then turn in midair after we've fired all our missiles at it and start going towards Philadelphia. So I know while Rick was worried about transgender bathrooms and the possibility of the Me Too movement, not succeeding, I was worried about those missiles, and for about 3 weeks I was very nervous. I tried to be happy. I tried to live my life because I don't want to be sad, but in the back of my mind I was always thinking about those missiles. And I thought, what is Trump going to do about it? So 2 days ago, Trump gets up and he gives a speech, and lo and behold, without being asked, without anybody in the media saying anything about it, not the Democrats, because they don't care, they're worried about transgender bathrooms. Nope, Trump gets up and all on his own says, you know what, we're going to have to completely redo all of our missile systems. He says, number one, we need one of them there hypersonic missiles, just like the Russians have. And as a matter of fact, we've been working on one, and we're very close anyway. And then
why is he giving away our secrets? Why is he giving away our military secrets?
Rick, I'm not done.
Okay, all right.
It is a 6-point plan, I believe. We're going to develop the hypersonic missiles. We are going, and by the way, the Russians may not actually have these yet. They tend to lie. And we're going to develop new systems that can knock missiles out of the sky. They're going to be space-based. They're going to be focusing on they're not going to wait for the missiles to get up into the atmosphere. They're going to be hitting them when they're just launched. And it's going to be our new venture. We're going to rehaul everything. And I thought to myself, thank God we have a man like Trump that sees what's important and does something about it, instead of the Democrats who let this situation happen. He's only been in office for 2 years.
Oh, wait, hold on.
He's only been in office for 2 years. He's already got this big plan underway of what he's going to try and do. And the Democrats, meanwhile, were in office for 8 years while this missile gap occurred. And I thought to myself, thank God. God must love America for putting Trump in office to save us. Yeah? Something about transgender bathrooms you had to say, Rick? What was it?
I've said before that, the
people aren't being equally treated when they, try to get on the girls' volleyball team. What's the problem?
I've said before that transgender bathrooms are not that high on my list.
Can you turn your torso toward me more? That's it. Thank you. That was all Obama talked about his last year in office.
I don't think so.
I remember him talking about it incessantly, over and over again. We will not be a great country until we have transgender bathrooms. Not a word about hypersonic missiles that the Russians might be developing.
The last time Obama was president was, in January 2017, hypersonic missiles were announced by Russia exactly 2 years later.
It takes decades to develop them, and Obama was doing nothing.
Oh, yeah.
About
So
it.
since it takes decades to develop them, I'm sure that we were developing countermeasures.
No. We had the smallest military budget in decades, and our fleet was the same size proportionally as it was before World War I. Our military.
Do we already
was
have
bad.
hypersonic missiles in development now, or are we just started?
Well, they don't tell me, Rick, but
And
Trump says that we're coming along.
Oh, so it must have been something that was in the works for almost certainly before he was president.
Well, I guess we fell behind while he was president,
How
or
do
we
you
would
know
have
that?
had them and the Russians would be behind us.
Or,
How come we don't have them before the Russians did?
well, you just said the Russians may not have, and that they tend to lie. And it's also...
Well, it doesn't really matter what I think. Trump should have gotten up there and said, you know what? During the Obama administration, we already got some of them hypersonic weapons. And furthermore, ours are even better. So thank God for Obama for doing that. But he couldn't say that.
Yeah, Trump always loves to give Obama credit for stuff.
Well, should he be giving... Wait, let me get this straight. You want Trump to give Obama credit for hypersonic missiles that we don't have, but the Russians do. Would that make you happy?
If you want, we can break, and we can look up and see if there's anything about the state of U.S. hypersonic missiles or missile defenses.
Well, Rick, I don't think we need to break. I think the facts are pretty much there. Trump says we don't have them. We're working on it. Putin says we do.
Yeah, but you just said Putin lies.
Yeah, I know, but we have. That's all we've got, Rick. There's nothing on the internet that's going to save you. No liberal, crazy lunatic writing some wonderful thing about Obama is going to be able to save you. We don't have them. The Russians are apparently ahead of us.
Yeah, but I bet you if we go to Wikipedia, if we broke and went to Wikipedia, we would find an article on hypersonic missiles that says that the U.S. has been working on these off and on for decades with varying degrees of success, and speculating about the current state of hypersonic missiles.
Yeah, well, let's let the viewers do that, Rick. I think it's pathetic.
All right, so let's
and
move
sad.
on to the stupid news. Let's move on to baby Hitler.
Okay.
All right, so this past week was a March for Life, or a gathering in Washington, D.C. I don't know if it was in other cities, but it certainly was in D.C., where a bunch of pro-life people came together to push for the rights of the unborn. And at that event, Ben Shapiro got up and gave a speech, which had two aspects that delighted at least the people I follow on Twitter. Aspect one was, since his speech was also his podcast, so he was peppering his speech with ads for his, the same way I've been talking about, even though they're not paying me, even though I just had a good meal, I've been talking about Dr. Hogley Wogley's. Ben Shapiro was interrupting his speech to do little mini ads for his sponsors. And thing two was he had a little passage where he made the point that none of the people, neither he nor the people listening to his speech, would ever kill baby Hitler if given the opportunity, because baby Hitler is a baby, and you don't kill babies. He said he'd get baby Hitler out of that house. He'd have baby Hitler, moved into better circumstances that would mean that he wouldn't turn out to be baby Hitler or adult Hitler. And he managed to say baby Hitler about 8 times in about a minute and a half, and Twitter went crazy with it because it turns out that killing baby Hitler or not killing baby Hitler has become an issue of late. And I also found out that in Deadpool 2, Deadpool actually does go back in time and kills baby Hitler. but this was cut out of the movie because it bummed people out too much to have a superhero kill a baby. So I don't know if there's any issue here or whether it's just, I don't know, 2019 state of discourse. Any thoughts on
I think people will use any opportunity to criticize Ben Shapiro, who is a brilliant man. I think it's really an example of how dumb liberals are, that they never focus on the issue. They always try to catch people on some phrase or some sentence
Yeah,
so
baby
that they
Hitler.
can criticize them. Like a conservative person made a statement about abortion. Not one word do they have to say about abortion. They're just kind of focusing on a way of attacking Ben Shapiro. So congratulations, Rick.
Well,
The other brainwashed people think this is really interesting.
Well, no, I mean, you got to give Ben Shapiro credit that we are talking about, I mean, more than this. A lot of people wouldn't have, most people probably didn't hear about the March for Life. But a lot more people are talking about it since Ben Shapiro defended baby Hitler. And so you have to give him credit because he took the issue and he made it live with a baby who was a baby back in 1889. Still, he made it fun. He made arguing about abortion fun via the greatest monster in history.
All right, fair enough. What else would you like to say, Rick?
In other stupid news, you had a bunch of Catholic boys from Covington Catholic School in Kentucky in a confrontation with a Native American Vietnam vet beating a drum. And the boys looked all smirky and they were doing Indian war whooping and looked like they were being snotty, cocky, high school dickheads, which caused much. People on my side were pissed off, and then less pissed off as once the initial piling on subsided and the second wave of pushing back against the pushing on kicked in.
And what was ultimately revealed, Rick?
Well, it depends on who you're listening to, but the boys still look smirky as shit. But the Native American guy says that what happened, and people, at least the people I follow on Twitter, tend to buy his version of events because everybody has a point of view. But apparently there was a group of crazy activists who were, I guess, African American, who were this weird sect of, they call themselves Israelites, or I don't know, 4 or 5 of these guys.
It was the black Israelites, Rick.
Black
Israelites.
Israelites.
Let's get this
okay.
right.
All right. So anyway, they were getting into a hassle with these group of boys. The boys were there. They'd come down from near Cincinnati from their school to be part of the March for Life deal.
Yes.
And they kind of, I don't know, splintered off from that and wandered into this other thing, and they were getting into these 40, 50s Catholic schoolboys were getting into a hassle with these black Israelite lunatics. This Native American guy who's an ex-Marine and doesn't mind wading into shit where he sees trouble, thinks that he might be able to prevent a scuffle from breaking out by getting between the black Israelites and the high school kids. So he gets in there and he just starts walking in between them, beating his drum, thinking that this will help diffuse the situation.
So why are you so willing to accuse these poor high school kids of being racist? Why are you doing that, Rick?
Just based on what I saw, and you know, but I would go with the pushed back version of racist, where they were just kind of dumb, you know, being dickheads the way
I don't think they were doing anything. I think that
They
were waiting around. This group called the Black Israelites started harassing them for wearing MAGA hats, and then this Indian threw himself into it. There's nothing whatsoever to be upset about. At least the high school kids did nothing wrong. But your media,
except doing Indian war chants and
so
stuff
what?
like that.
So what? So you know what? If an Indian started doing war whoops around me with a drum, I might join in too. What? I mean, don't you guys ever want the truth? Do you always have to turn it into something fake that you can pretend to be outraged about? Oh, white Christians did something bad. Well, why does everything have? Don't you see through it, Rick? Are you that sad that you have to buy every single thing?
Did you look at any of the footage?
I did, and it looked like the kids were innocent. And you bought it because your media is always lying to you, always trying to start racist incidents wherever it can, because it's sick and it's trying to create racial tension in this country.
Well, you know,
so
that's not exactly it, because you always try to ascribe like stuff to me that. So I admittedly at the beginning I was like, yeah, those guys are all assholes.
No, they're not assholes.
No, but hold on. Just let me say my thing. Then I saw a tweet, and I didn't agree with it entirely, but actually I responded to it. And the tweet was, weren't you ever young and stupid? Didn't you ever do dumb stuff when you were a kid? And I thought about it, and I tweeted back, and I go, yeah, I did dumb stuff when I was a kid. Still doesn't excuse the high school guys. But, so, they were dickish.
Lower your head.
They're not going to be expelled, is my thought. There was some bullshit later. I think they'll be I think the controversy will serve to...
Turn your torso more toward me.
Okay. I think that will serve to be a little bit of an education. I don't think there'll be serious consequences for the boys for being dickish.
Who says they were dickish? What did they do?
They were dickish.
They were being harassed by the Black Israelites, and then a Native American jumped in front of them. What is the problem? And
they were smirky about it.
I'd smirk too. And furthermore, all they did was chant their own high school war cry or whatever for their team. That's what they were chanting. They were chanting their high school fight song. That's what they don't know Indian war chants. That's what they were chanting.
Anyway.
But what I'm interested in is how you automatically doesn't it bother you that your media is constantly trying to create racial tension?
Well, no, because what happened was the way Twitter works. A thing gets reported, people go crazy piling on with quips, and like when the baby Hitler thing hit, I didn't address the issue. I addressed the opportunity to I made like 8 or 10 dumb tweets about time traveling back to kill baby Hitler. And I said, the way you deal with baby Hitler is you fire up the time van. On the way back, you stop in 1960. You pick up Elvis, JFK, Marilyn Monroe. You stop in 1940, you pick up Anne Frank. You stop in 1930, you pick up Einstein and Gandhi. You stop in 1910, you pick up, I don't know what, Freud, Virginia Woolf. And then you go back to 1891, and then you have a baby Hitler dance party with the greatest people of the past 100 years. And that doesn't address the issue, it's just stupidity.
All right.
So, and the kind of the same way you know, when something like the cocky, you know, a lot of this stuff gets worked out via social media now. And
Yeah, but Twitter.
no, but
Twitter-
hold on. So here it is. So initially it hits as, hey, look at these high school assholes. And boy, are these guys are high school assholes. Then other people write, haven't you ever been an asshole? Then some of the people on the side of the Covington Catholic colonels write in and say, it wasn't really like that. And then like, and it kind of gets, you don't necessarily get a consensus, but the initial piling on, which isn't the result of necessarily, yeah, some people are eager to be outraged, and sometimes I'm that among them, but it eventually gets straightened out, and it's not always like a liberal conspiracy to manufacture outrage. You guys do some outrage manufacturing yourself on the right.
Give me an example.
Outrage when Hannity was outraged when Obama used Dijon mustard on a sandwich, and there was outrage, not outrage, but there was like, it wasn't presidential when Obama wore a light tan suit.
I wasn't outraged by any of those things.
Oh, Hannity.
In fact,
Hannity
I don't
talked
remember hearing about it.
Well, you should look it up. Look it freaking up.
All right, all right.
I mean, part of the problem is like, you know, that it's a very sensitive. I mean, it's you know the little needle, the seismograph of outrage on social media is very sensitive. That I follow, you know, hundreds and maybe thousands of people who try to be funny on Twitter, and anything that has the potential for goofiness, like Baby Hitler, is going to be picked up on.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, what else do we have?
Well, in terms of the political arena, Nancy Pelosi uninvited Trump to deliver the
State of the
State
Union.
of the Union, and in return, Trump canceled her trip to
Canceled her plane
Yeah.
to Afghanistan, which is tantamount to canceling the trip, because if you never announce that there's an impending trip, because that always has to, you don't announce that you're visiting the troops until you're actually there visiting the troops. So it was political on both sides.
Yeah, but who started it?
Pelosi in this case.
Pelosi in this case. Yeah, Pelosi was acting like a cunt. And so Trump gave her a taste of her own medicine. Fine.
All
Well,
right,
you know,
fine. So what's the next thing?
I mean, to me, what bothers me is that these are the actions of a party that despises the president. Now, what's interesting is I hated Obama as much as you could ever hate anybody. But it would never occur to me not to let him speak before Congress. You know, the Republicans had control of Congress, but they were patriotic and they were reasonable. And they said, okay, we hate this guy, but, you know, he's the president. But the Democrats are so full of bile, so hateful, that they have to personally attack the president.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the longest shutdown in history.
Well, that's not an excuse. There were shutdowns in other presidential administrations.
Yeah,
So-
most of them have happened under Trump. 3 of them under Trump.
Okay, but my point is that there's no excuse for this, Rick. You don't just say, "Well, he's been very bad. He's disagreeing, and so they have a shutdown." No, you go on and you give him his presidential due, and you don't do petty bullshit
Have you seen
like
his
that.
presidential due?
Huh?
It's the craziest due in the history of the presidents.
Well, look, Rick. This is vile behavior on the part of the Democrats. They're full of hatred, And you
He's
you
so
don't,
hateable. He's, like I said,
no. He's not more hateable than Obama was.
Oh yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
Speaking of hateability, all right.
Wait a minute.
let's
I'm
look-
not finished with my point.
All right,
You
fine.
droned on forever about Twitter. Listen to me. It is wrong for the Democrats to do this to him. He's been a good president by any standard.
Oh,
He's been an excellent president.
No.
And there's no reason for him to be treated like this. Even if he was a bad president like Obama, he shouldn't be treated like this.
In a month, in February, every February there's an annual poll of presidential historians.
I don't care about that.
And
But they ask a bunch of Democrats that are historians. What do you think of the Republican
actually,
president?
it's a mix of. I'm sure
No.
there are more Democrats than Republicans,
Well,
but it's a mix.
Look, Rick, I don't give a shit.
And in
I
fact,
don't give a shit what they say.
But you
he's
just said
president.
he's been a good president under any standard, but
No,
under a bunch of
any reasonable standard. If
No.
you're a Democrat historian, then you're going to hate him or
no.
something.
So the deal is that the Democrat
Lower your head.
historians
Yes.
rank him as the worst in history. The Republican historians rank him as the second worst in history.
Okay, Rick, I don't believe this shit whatsoever.
Look it up. Look
Rick,
go to Wikipedia.
Rick, it's Rick versus Lance right now. We're not dealing with your poll of your
You
dirty.
just said he was a
filthy-
good president.
Yeah,
under any standard.
and it's your job to convince me that he's not a good president and that Obama was. You have never been able to do that because I keep talking about the economy and the successes that we've had, and you've never been able to refute any of them. And then when I talk about the shit that Obama pulled, you haven't been able to refute that. So there is no logical reason to hate this man.
Yeah, he's been a lifelong grifter.
You don't have any proof of that. Why isn't he in prison for that?
Well, some of the stuff he did while being terrible wasn't illegal. And I mean, he's somebody who's existed, who's good at getting away with stuff without paying legal consequences.
Vague, meaningless generalities.
6 bankruptcies.
So what? There are people that are bankrupt. Yeah, listen, half the people watching this have been bankrupt.
Have you been bankrupt?
No, but I've been damn close.
Yeah. 6.
You know what? Doing this YouTube show is not not helping me.
Yeah. So.
By the way, people really, if you love the hell that I have to go through every Sunday night trying to, red pill this guy, you will contribute something.
Yeah, give us money. This production, while obviously on a shoestring, shoestrings cost money. So please, support our efforts to continue to yell at each other.
It's shortening my life.
Yeah, and it gives me diarrhea.
All right.
So Lance, contribute at Lance versus Rick. Contribute to Lance versus Rick at gmail.com. That's our PayPal account. Lance versus Rick at Gmail. All right, so slightly different topic. You loathe Obama.
Yes.
If you had the wherewithal, if circumstances permitted, would you go on a date with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes.
How would that go?
Well, the first thing I would do is convince her to be a Republican. I would just use logic, I'd use reason, and I think I could easily defeat her in a debate. And then, the lovemaking.
All right. Would you go out with Jane Fonda circa 1968?
I would first turn her in for aiding the enemy. Do you know what she did, by the way?
I know, and she says she regrets it.
No, you don't know what she did.
She posed on a tank.
No, that's not what she did. Listen to this. What she really did, and what people are really mad about, is that they gave her a tour of a prisoner of war camp. And they introduced her to a line of American soldiers, prisoners of the North Vietnamese. And at the end of the line, at some point in the line, somebody shook hands with her with a piece of paper in his hand. And the piece of paper had a message to the U.S., I don't know, the Army or his family or something. And at the end of the line, after shaking hands with these guys, she gave the piece of paper over to the North Vietnamese, who then tortured these guys, I believe, to death. So that's what she did. She got people killed. Like, she could have just kept it. She could have kept those papers and given them to the American authorities. But that's what people hate her for. Not for posing, not for looking cute on a tank, but for actually betraying some American POWs and getting them killed. Or at the very least tortured, as I recall. That's really bad. And you know what? You can't forgive that. So unfortunately, Jane Fonda won't get my seed.
All right, so you wouldn't date Jane Fonda?
I would not. I cannot have sex with a traitor to the American government unless it was to get her to love me and give me secrets that I could use against America's enemies. Or if I could somehow get her to turn against her handlers and become an American spy. That's the only circumstance I would make love to her. And I would do it for the United States.
All right, what else do we have?
This is
Lower your head.
This question.
And by the way, whenever I make love to a woman, it's for the United States.
Okay. Rick, you are running for president. You are the Democrat. You're the liberal here. What is your platform? And does it include impeachment? Is that part of your? What is your platform? And then Lance, you're running for president. And what is your platform? Make the case to the American people.
The first thing you do in building a platform is figure out what national priorities should be. What are the things that we as a country should focus our attention and efforts on? And I was thinking about this. I was thinking that, the government is shut down right now over this border issue. And I was thinking, that's not even in my top 5 issues of national peril.
Your first issue is robot girlfriends, right?
Basically, yeah, that is preparing for the future. The U.S. needs to continue to lead the world in technological innovation, because there are other countries who are coming up on us and are starting to chew our ass off. China, most notably. China doesn't play fair, and I will give you credit. I'll give this president credit for being being more aggressive with China than other presidents.
Thank you.
But part of being prepared for the future is a government push for continued educational and technological dominance over the rest of the world. When we shit a brick in 1958, when Russia launched the first orbital satellite, and the U.S. was like, we got to quit. We got to become we have to be less complacent. There has to be a huge push to make the U.S. Super scientifically superior, and I would I would want another push in that direction. Liberals are supposed to be super concerned about climate change, but I would put climate change under that same umbrella. That if we are technologically dominant, we develop solutions to whatever problems climate change causes. But you need the infrastructure and the national attitude pro-science, pro-technology, pro-getting everybody frickin' educated, and everybody buckling down and doing the work we need to do to be a modern, advanced country. So that would be thing number one. But then, and there's other stuff that fits under that umbrella. Tech jobs, tech training, tech retraining. I read some statistic that that coal mining used to employ 785,000 people in this country at its peak in the 1920s and 30s, and now it employs 50,000 people. Well, and that just coal is not a super viable industry anymore, and so develop industries that are. Anyway, go ahead. Your turn.
Good stuff.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, sadly, I have never felt so good about an administration in my life. This is the first time in my life when I've actually felt like the president is doing a great job with exactly what he's doing, and that I'm not worried. I actually, the only thing that worries me is that the Democrats might be able to destroy him. He's building up our national defenses. He crushed ISIS, which is what I wanted.
Except for 20 to 30,000 remaining ISIS.
Listen, you don't know the exact number, and
I just gave you a range.
Okay, Rick, there are thousands of terrorists around the world. He can't kill all of them. It's petty and vile of you not to just give him credit where it's due. He crushed ISIS. The ISIS caliphate no longer exists. There are terrorists wandering around that used to live in a caliphate, that used to be their country. It was about the size of France, and now it's gone. And now they're wandering around trying to figure out what to do, and the president has pledged to continue until they've captured or killed all of them. So I'm very proud of what he did to ISIS. The organization that was Obama's fault, who killed 250,000 people, and that he destroyed. Thank you, President Trump.
It wasn't just Obama's fault. It was Bush 2's and Obama's fault.
No.
Yep,
It was Obama's fault because Obama pulled out the force that was meant to keep order in Iraq.
Let's not have this argument again.
Well, I wish we didn't have to. Why can't you accept reality? At a certain point, you just accept things. We won World War II. Oh, Rick would say, but there are still Nazis.
No,
This is, the Soviet Union fell. Rick would say, but there are still some bad Russians. No, give the man credit where it's due. Can you just rise above your brainwashing for a minute and just be big, be magnanimous? He did something good.
All right, so just a few minutes ago I gave Trump credit for being aggressive with China.
Give him credit for being aggressive with ISIS.
Fine, but you won't give Obama any credit for being aggressive with ISIS. You'll blame him I think Obama should have some of the blame for creating ISIS, but so does not having a plan for what to do with Iraq after we took out Saddam.
Hey, Rick, that's why you can't rely on a physicist to run a country. The best person to run a country, I realize now, is a historian. I'm a historian, and because of that, I understand that when you take over a country, you can't be sure what's going to happen.
Well,
So when the
Wolfowitz
Bush,
and Rumsfeld thought we'd be greeted with flowers.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Rick. They took over ISIS. I mean, they took over Iraq.
And they fired the Baathists.
Okay,
They fired the whole
Rick,
friggin'
that's good.
army.
We fired the Nazis. When we took over Germany, we fired the Nazis. That's what you do. You get rid of the bad people that you were just fighting. Now, when you take over a country, the enemy doesn't automatically give up. They've got a countermeasure. It turned out that they fought back. Sorry, Rick. I know history, so I know that it doesn't always work out perfectly. You don't just sit there saying, well, the plan failed. Do you know how many generals Lincoln went through before he won the Civil War?
Yeah, he had a bunch of shitty generals.
A lot of plans
but
didn't
you guys
work out.
didn't have the Republican, the
Lower your head, lower your
G.W.
head.
Bush people did not have any kind of a plan in place for
Rick,
post-victory.
they won the victory.
And they had no plan for afterwards.
The plan was to occupy the country, and the problem was that your guy pulled out the occupying troops, and that's what led to the collapse of Iraq.
There was 5 years of civil war before
Okay,
my guy even came in.
Yeah, I understand that. It's okay. Those things happen, Rick. Unfortunately, it's a country where it had 23 million people, and not all of them were on our side. Sorry, Rick.
That's pretty facile.
No, wait. I need to explain something to you. It is a lot more difficult to win a war than to make a simple decision. Do I leave an occupying force or do I pull it out? Bush had to defeat a powerful enemy country and occupy it with hardly any American casualties. That was very difficult. It took years. There were insurgencies. There was fighting on the battlefield. We took 2,000 or 3,000 casualties in Iraq,
we have to go
and
back
2,000 or
for-
3,000 casualties in Afghanistan. The point I'm trying to make is that Bush succeeded at something very difficult, and Obama had one decision he had to make: leave an occupying force, and he couldn't do it. And because of that, 250,000 people died. So don't you sit there and tell me that Obama was a great man. 250,000 people are now dead because of him in Iraq alone. That's not including what he did to Libya, where they brought back black slavery. Black slavery for the first time in history. There are hundreds of thousands of black people.
You like to get all fucking worked
There
up.
are hundreds of thousands.
As many people died.
No one has died under Trump.
G.W.
Bush. No
Bush.
one's died under Trump.
Under Bush. You excuse
I am
all
not
the
talking about Bush.
But you have to, because he's the one who started the ridiculous
Rick,
war.
It wasn't a ridiculous war. We were trying to overcome a crazy dictator that had attacked 3 different countries.
But hadn't done that in...
He attacked
did it
Iran.
In 1990.
He attacked Iran. He attacked his own people. He attacked. He invaded Kuwait, and he was firing on us. So we had a war with an evil leader.
12 years later, he's not doing that, and we go in under false pretenses. Anyway,
Wait.
I got a break.
A lot of people don't know that people are dying by the thousand because Obama overthrew the Libyan government, and now black people are enslaved by the thousand in Libya because of Obama. Bush didn't do that. Trump didn't do that.
More people died because of what Bush did than have died.
But it wasn't necessary, Rick. It wasn't necessary.
And
you want to talk?
Neither was the Iraq War.
Rick, you want to talk about not having a plan? Oh, Obama overthrew the government of Libya, and since then, the only thing that has happened is slavery and murder.
So it's
that I would say that constitutes a no plan.
You can. Well,
has Trump done anything like that?
No.
So nobody who's died because of Trump, Rick?
Some civilians, because he loosened the rules of engagement, but no.
Wait. What civilians died because of loosening the rules of engagement?
The people involved in wiping out and knocking down ISIS.
Oh, so in order to defeat ISIS, some civilians died, and you're holding that against him. Thanks,
No,
Rick. That's fair. That's reasonable.
No, I'm not making that argument. The argument I'm making is that I consider it fairly symmetrical between Obama's fuck-ups and George W. Bush's
Okay,
fuck-ups.
all right, Rick, you have no reason to hate Trump. Let's get back to the original issue.
Okay.
Well, Obama caused thousands of black people to be turned into slaves in Libya for no reason whatsoever. Nothing had to happen there. He overthrew that government and left it in chaos. And he did the same thing in Iraq, causing 250,000 people to be murdered.
And
Trump has done nothing of the kind.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
Okay, so why is it that you love Obama and you hate Trump? The real murderer is Obama.
I think Obama fucked up.
Okay, and has Trump fucked up on the same level?
Not with the consequences to the Mideast that
So
both
Trump
Bush
Trump has not gotten 300,000 people dead.
That's true.
So you should like Trump and hate Obama.
No.
So the 300,000 people dying means nothing to you.
Yeah, it does, but...
Not enough to get you to dislike Obama and like Trump.
Well, no, we've been doing this for 2 years.
No, let's analyze what is
hold on. No, let me frickin' kind of give you the point where after doing this for 2 years, I like Obama less than I did before we started doing this yelling at each other project. I've been persuaded by what you've said to realize that, yeah, Obama fucked up in the Mideast. Though I haven't been unpersuaded that George W. Bush fucked up in the Mideast. They both fucked up in ways that I think are pretty similar. And no, Trump has not fucked up in the Mideast the way that both G.W. Bush and Obama fucked up. So yeah, he gets credit for that. So there you go. Now let's take a break.
Thank you.
Rolling.
All right, so you've shown the drawing.
Showing drawing.
All right, is it in focus? Because that's a problem.
Totally focused.
All right, and now, thank you. It's been a lovely conversation today with you, Rick.
We semi-agreed about some shit.
All right. Okay, that's it.
Lance versus Rick at gmail.com. Yes. Baksheesh.
All right.
Shekels.
Pay us, no.
Lettuce.
Commercial about payment, no?
Yeah. Pay, Lance versus Rick at gmail.com is our PayPal deal. Give us $2. $2 frickin' dollars. Just make us feel loved.
All right, thank you very much.
86.3. One more thing. Science Corner. Tonight was the super blood wolf moon, which is an eclipse where the Earth gets between the sun and the moon, the shadow of the Earth falls on the moon, and so there's just enough light that gets past it to light up the moon all kind of red. But the crazy thing about eclipses is that we have so many because the moon orbits the Earth in the same plane that the Earth orbits the sun. That all the planets, except for Pluto, which is fucked up and isn't even a planet anymore, all orbit in the same direction and in the same plane, which is crazy. So the deal is that solar systems coalesce out of big clouds of interstellar gas, mostly hydrogen, some helium, and they smush down and start coalescing into bodies. You know, with most of the matter turning into a star at the center, but other bodies coalesce too, but the deal is that they all have leftover kinetic energy that lets them revolve, but also rotate around each other. But if they're rotating on different planes, they're eventually going to crash into each other. So eventually solar systems straighten themselves out where things either crash into each other, get knocked out of the solar system, or crash together, and everything is roughly in the same plane and rotating in the same direction because everything's been sorted out after several billion years, so that's the only way that solar systems can be stable and not have junk crash into each other. And that's the deal. Just that solar systems are also are globs of matter that condense down and then get sorted out after tens and hundreds of millions of years of collisions, to where they become regular, non-crashy for the most part, dynamic systems where everything just goes around and everything's in the same plane. The end. Bye.